I was in Pakistan not long ago, and I was shocked at the depth of the anti-Americanism. I was stunned by it, and it was everywhere we went,
Right.
in the streets, at the universities, everywhere. It's red hot, and it's focused on the drones. And I just wonder if you think that some of this, the backlash we're getting from it,
Right.
is worth it.
So that really brings us to I think the key question where I think we have a strategic decision to make, and I know what I would decide if I were in charge, but that there are different opinions.
Well, pretend you are.
Okay, and that gets to Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, the places where these jihadi groups have and their franchises have holed up. I think that in those places, because we don't own the ground, they're somebody else's country. The country itself is either unwilling or unable to cooperate with us against these groups, that we simply cannot do it by unilateral intelligence and special forces attack. We simply cannot succeed there in keeping these groups in eliminating these groups. And I think that by having that campaign dominate our overall relations with these countries, we are following a policy that cannot take us from that second layer of small attacks down to no attacks. But we are, in fact, because we're alienating the countries concerned, because we're treating the countries just as places where we go attack groups that threaten us. We are threatening the prospects of a long-term reform that are raised by the Arab Spring, that can be raised by other things, which would make these countries capable and willing allies who could, in fact, knock that threat down to a nuisance level from a small-scale attacks level. So I think we have to change in those three countries in a fundamental way.
Stop the drone attacks?
Do the drone attacks intelligence work and special forces work only with the countries, pull back on unilateral actions by the United States except in extraordinary circumstances. So we would do it, we would build those countries up, and we do it with them, and we would rely much more on the next layers of defense we have, which are watching whoever comes in and out of that country, and then the toughening up of the infrastructure that we've been talking about here in the country. I think now's the time to do that, and especially with the Arab Spring events, in which it's clear that the people in these countries have not been persuaded by these ideologies. They certainly don't like these dictatorial governments that they've been under, and they're ready to turn a new page, and we ought to jump on it.
If we stop the drone attacks in Pakistan, would the Taliban reconstitute?
It would make it. I don't say we'd stop the drone attacks in Pakistan. I would say we go to the Pakistanis again, and they wouldn't agree tomorrow. But if we
well, you're saying stop them until they agree.
I say agree with them on what drone attacks would be. Now, when you look at it from a logical point of view, the Pakistanis, with American help, could bring law and order to those Northwest territories. They have lots of soldiers. We have lots of surveillance capability, and we can help them in other ways, helicopters and others, in ways in which Pakistan, with American assistance, could bring peace to the valleys, and it would benefit both of us. Were we able to cut that sort of a bargain, it's a win for both sides. Right now, we've gotten ourselves into such a rancorous and non-trusting relationship that we can't cut that deal. It would probably take us months or years to do so, but that is the only way that we are going to get that witch's brew of terrorist groups in the northwest part of Pakistan under control. And they don't only threaten us. Most of the people they kill are Pakistanis. Next are Afghans. Next are Indians. And next are Americans. We should all be able to do this.
Well, let me just ask it one more time. Should we stop all drone attacks that do not involve the okay from the local countries? And if we did that in Pakistan, would the Taliban reconstitute in force?
I would say yes, we should offer the Pakistanis to put two hands on the trigger, and that would make our job in Afghanistan more difficult for a while, but it would make it a lot easier over the long term.